I just say, I'd just like to start by saying thanks very much to everybody that's joined us for this very first Achievement Scheme Zoom presentation. The presentation that you're going to see is relatively short, and it's based on material that we would normally have delivered during our Achievement Scheme roadshows, which for obvious reasons we're not able to run this year. So we thought these Zoom presentations might be a good alternative. So this is the first, it's a bit of a test. We just want to see how it goes, how well it's received, because if it goes down well, and the support we've had for this very first one has been fantastic. We're hoping to run them on a weekly basis at 7:30 every Tuesday night. This will be the first. We've got 2 more lined up for another one on the 2nd of June, which will be on the philosophy of the Achievement Scheme, and another one on the 9th of June, which will be primarily about taking the fixed wing A test. So those are our future events, but we'll see how we go with this one. As I say, it's a relatively short 10 to 15 minute presentation, but there'll be plenty of opportunities for questions at the end, but any general questions on the Achievement Scheme. Although, if you have any particular questions while we're running through the presentation, if you just use the Zoom facility to raise a hand, Andy Simmons, who's working in the background, will flag it and interrupt me while I'm going through the presentation. So I'm Duncan McClure. I'm the RC Power and Sign-Up Flight Achievement Scheme Controller, and I already mentioned working in the background with me, helping me run through the presentation, is Andy Simmons, who's the BMFA Club Support Officer. And we've also got several of the other members of the ASRC who are joining us tonight for the presentation. We hope this is going to be a good test of how we like things to run. Hopefully not too controversial. As I say, we've got more to follow on. So without further ado, I'll crack on with the presentation. So this is an overview of what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to look at the principle behind these Achievement Schemes Awards, what they're for, and why we've got them, how they came about, who's eligible for award, how you can go about the process. And Andy will jump in here. There's an online process that he'll talk us through at the end, and also what happens after you've nominated someone for award. To sort of close out the process. So, principles behind the awards. So, why have we got these? Well, you can see that, obviously you can see what's written on the screen. So it's obviously the relevance of the scheme to the membership. We've got something like over 16,000 BMFA members have at least one Achievement Scheme Award. And you're hopefully all aware of the chairman's initiated a review of the organisation to look at the structure of the organisation going forward, and part of that has been a general recognition of the importance of the Achievement Scheme in terms of what it does for the association, in terms of encouraging members to improve their skills and safety and demonstrate them to a national standard, which helps the association in being able to demonstrate that it takes a responsible approach to model flying, which has been particularly helpful in all the recent negotiations with EASA and the CAA and the DFT during all the drone and model aircraft registration and education scheme, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. And also, importantly, it's in recognition for the valuable work of all the examiners and instructors out there who actually delivered the scheme. You're right, for people like me and Andy and the other members of the ASRC, but we actually absolutely rely on people at grassroots level in clubs all around the country delivering training and testing for the scheme to operate. We can't do it without you guys, and we're really grateful. There are something like 600 to 700 club examiners throughout the UK, and around about 3,000 club instructors registered and approved and qualified throughout the country. So it's in recognition of the valuable work they do towards for the association. So what are the awards for? Well, actually, there are 5 awards allocated or made each year. One of them is for long-term or exceptional service to the achievement scheme, and then there are an additional 4 certificates of merit, which, as you can see on the screen here, can be awarded for a variety of different reasons. It's either service to or promotion of the achievement scheme, or for candidates who displayed, as it says here, outstanding attitude, determination, diligence, and/or performance in the lead up to and/or during a test. So hopefully we've got something for everyone. So something for those that those individuals who are delivering the scheme, and also something for those individuals who've chosen to participate in the scheme. And it could be from the candidate point of view. It could be someone who has maybe been very successful in passing their test in record time, or it could be someone who's laboured long and hard for many years to achieve their goal or whatever. And it's in recognition for the time and effort they put into all of this, which helps the association.
We've had a question here from John Collister, who was asking how many nominations there were last year for the various awards.
Okay, that's a really good question, because we've these awards have only been in existence for this is our 3rd year now, and last year we had a record number of applications, which I think was around 16 or 17 individuals were nominated for the 5 awards, and we were actually really quite pleased. That's a good number of nominations, and I think it's just a function of the fact that we promoted these awards, the fact that that people got a good handle on what they're for and what they're about, and that they apply to grassroots. I think we just made a good job, and again, particular thanks to Andy in terms of setting it all up and promoting it and advertising it on the website. I wrote about it in BMFA News, and Andy also set up a very simple online application form, which streamlined the process. So yeah, so a good number, something like 16 or 17 nominations from their meeting last year.
I think that answers the question.
Cool. Okay, so who is eligible for an award? Who can you nominate? Well, area chief examiners and area chief instructors and area coordinators, they're all eligible. Obviously, club examiners and club instructors, and that includes approved and qualified instructors as well as registered instructors. And as I've already mentioned, any successful test candidates at A or BPC level, and also successful test candidates at the LC level or any of the other extensions for the various tests that we have. Hopefully relatively straightforward then. So who isn't eligible? All the current members of the Achievement Scheme Review Committee and also the Achievement Scheme Controller for Power and Silent Flight are not eligible for Achievement Scheme Awards. We wanted this to be very much about grassroots activity and all the people that voluntarily provide such valuable service, and we didn't want it to be seen as awards for the boys. So very important that current members of the ASRC and whoever is the Power and Silent Flight Controllers are not eligible. So who can nominate someone for awards? Okay, so those eligible are a relatively limited number of individuals. It can be your area committee, and that means officers of the area committee. It could be members of your clubs committee, or it could be your registered club examiners and or your approved or qualified instructors. Now, if you're thinking all that's a bit restrictive, well, actually, if you think there is anybody who deserves an award and you're not one of those eligible, just go, what we would say is just go and lobby. Just go and see your club committee, go and see the chairman or the secretary or whoever, or perhaps the examiner, or perhaps one of the instructors, and say, look, I've been watching Joe blogs, whatever, and I think he deserves one of the Achievement Scheme Awards. So even though that you might not be included on that list, doesn't mean you can't be involved in the process, and we'd encourage you to lobby where appropriate.
We've another question coming here from Peter Aris asking about the process for becoming an approved stroke qualified instructor.
Okay, there are, I reach for my BMFA handbook. As you're probably aware, we've got 4 levels of instructor. We have registered instructors that are actually club appointments. And then we move on to approved instructors. Approved instructors are the first level of instructor who actually have to undergo a test, which is why registered instructors are club appointments, whereas approved and qualified instructors are actually achievement scheme appointments. So to be an approved instructor, you actually would be tested by an area chief instructor. The difference between approved and qualified instructors is a qualified instructor is an approved instructor that has or has gained a B certificate. So if you took the test to be an approved instructor and you didn't have a B certificate, but you subsequently obtained a B certificate, then you will become automatically, on application to the scheme controller actually, you become a qualified instructor. If you had a B certificate at the time you took the approved instructor test, you would automatically become a qualified instructor. And then the final stage on from qualified instructor is to become an area chief. So I hope that answers your question. And the process of becoming an approved instructor is your club committee would contact your area coordinator, area achievement scheme coordinator, and he would then arrange for an area chief to come and conduct the test. And if you have any problems about making contact with your area coordinators, maybe you don't know who they are, you can find the details either on the website, or have any further problems, just contact either myself or Andy Simmons, club support officer in the office, and we'll point you in the right direction. So, how do you nominate someone for award? Well, as Andy will tell you, it's a very easy and simple and quick online application form. I've put the link up on the screen here, but what Andy will do is that link will be posted at the end. Andy will actually show you how that link works at the end of this presentation and talk you through the process, just to show you just how simple it is. If you don't actually have access to the internet, then there's not a problem. You can just call the Leicester office. What will probably happen then is they will send you out a copy of the form, just so that you can write down the sort of dissertation part as much as anything else. But at some point, Andy or I will probably end up entering it electronically, because the electronic system is fairly foolproof, and we don't want stuff to fall through the net. Yeah, interesting. Deadline for nominations is the 31st of August. But the awards process is it's an ongoing thing. What the deadline means is that when it comes to the 31st of August, the Achievement Scheme Review Committee will sit and look at the nominations received for this year. But it doesn't mean that it's not a batch process. What it means is nominations come in all the time. Just that if they come in after that date, they will then be considered for the following year. I hope that makes sense. So already mentioned this just in passing on the previous slide. So who decides? Well, basically it's the Achievement Scheme Review Committee, and the way we go about it is that we look at all the nominations that have been received up to that 31st of August deadline, and then individually we will each go through all of the nominees and score them, and we do that, as I say, individually. We don't sit as a committee and do that. We individually score all the candidates. Then we get together, compare notes, and see who comes out with the highest scores. And if there's any draw or any sort of arbitration, the chairman has a casting vote, and or we can discuss it at that stage, but not until after we've all individually scored. And as I've already mentioned, so we make one award for long-term or exceptional service, That's a special long-term or exceptional service award. And then there are 4 certificates of merit. As it says at the bottom of the slide here, very importantly, we will do our best to allocate awards for each of the categories that I mentioned on who's eligible for an award slide. So where we can, we'll look for test candidates at A level, at A or BPC. We'll look for test candidates at B or C or any of the extensions. We'll also look for examiners and instructors. But of course, we'll do our best to apportion awards across the spectrum of those who are eligible to be nominated. But it's critically dependent on what nominations we receive, basically. But we'll do our best to award them across all the different categories. And what happens? What happens after that? Well, the ASRC contacts all of the proposers and the successful nominees. We'll contact all of the proposers, so that's proposals for candidates who weren't successful, so they're aware of what's happened to the nomination that they submitted, and also to all the successful nominees, because we need to get in touch with them and alert them to the fact that they're all invited. All the successful nominees are invited to receive their awards at the BMFA annual awards dinner. They don't have to go, but their dinner is paid for. Their meal in the evening is funded by the ASRC. And those that attend will be presented with their award by the BMFA chairman. And it's a lovely evening. It's a proper recognition of all the hard work these individuals have made. If you, for whatever reason, people unfortunately can't attend, then that's not a problem. They can send someone else to receive the award in their stead, or we can make arrangements for the award perhaps be presented by their club committee at a club meeting, or indeed to be sent to them by other means or whatever. So just because if for whatever reason they can't attend the awards dinner, that doesn't mean we can't make arrangements for them to get there. We'll just make other arrangements to get there. Okay, and I think that's about it. If we have any questions, quite happy to field them now. Andy and myself and those other ASRC members will do their best to answer any questions you might have in general about the scheme or the presentations tonight. But Andy's going to start off by giving you a quick run through the application process. Sorry, the nomination process.
Hi there, everybody. As you can see here, we've got the homepage of the Achievement Scheme website. And to find the section for the awards, if you just go along to News and Achievement Scheme Annual Awards, and the link that was in the presentation takes you to this page. And then there's various pieces of information there, including the nomination deadline and how the awards are dealt with. If you scroll to the bottom, you can download a printable version of the nomination form, complete and post to the office. But far and away the easiest method of doing your nomination is to click on the online nomination form, which will open in a separate window for you. And it's very easy to complete and submit completely online then. Do be aware that the citation is a maximum of 450 words, and that is limited. We would suggest that you write the citation in something like Word and then just copy and paste the text in. And then complete all the fields and click submit. You will receive an email immediately confirming your submission and the information that you've provided. And then the nomination is received by the Scheme Controller of the Office and the Achievement Scheme Chairman, Chris Bradbury. And that's the process for submitting a nomination for the Achievement Scheme Awards. Very straightforward and simple. Just a quick word and a shout out for the main BMFA awards. If you go to awards.bmfa.uk, you've got information there on the various trophies that are available. These are awarded on an annual basis for various aspects and involvement in model flying. So if you've got somebody in your club who puts a lot of dedicated hours in, has done this for many years, whether it's turning up twice a week to cut your grass. If you think they're worthy of an award, get your club committee to go along to the awards website, click on submit nomination, and from there, again, you have another online form that's very easy to fill in, complete all that and submit an award for them. Okay, I think that's everything from me for the submitting the awards. Very straightforward process.
Andrew, if I could just jump in, I think it's quite important to point out that we're doing our best to be joined up with the normal awards process, although there is a separate committee that looks at the normal BMFA awards. We very much want to make it a joined up process. So
absolutely, I think I think it's very important to recognise these people. They're often behind the scenes, but without them, I'm fairly sure that we wouldn't get as much flying in as we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, right then. I think we'll go to the question and answer session from now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.